Hello everyone, it's Wilcomax, and today I'm going to be doing a short video on one of my projects in the new year, and that's going to be Crusade. So today I'm going to explain what Crusade is and what I'm going to try to attempt to achieve with it in 2022. So Crusade is a sub-style of play within Warhammer 40k. So you see in Warhammer, there's going to be open play, basically anything goes, match play, the competitive play, and narrative play, which Crusade falls under, which is more, as the name implies, name on the tin, narrative, trying to create a story with it. So in Crusade, essentially you are the commander, and you define how the Crusade goes in terms of what your forces are, and you don't have to play the same opponents all the time. So you can take your force, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, and you can play a pickup game against anyone in Crusade, and your force will improve in this narrative story from experience points and acquisitions and things as you go along. So we'll go through how to set up a Crusade force, and then the next video will be me setting up my Crusade force, which is going to be played in my local game store, hopefully in 2022, if I stay in the local area, or if I go away for work, maybe in a different area. But I will try and essentially highlight each battle of my Crusade force as the year goes along. And if you're interested, you can follow along and see how the force evolves and its great wins and probably massive losses. So Crusade, when creating a Crusade force, you have to determine first the order of battle. And to do that, you start off with picking a faction. So tomorrow, you'll find out, well, maybe tomorrow, maybe another day, depends on how motivated I am. You'll find out which faction I'm going to pick for the Crusade. So you can see here all the key 40k factions: Imperium, Chaos, Eldari, Tyranids, Orcs, Necrons, Tau Empire. And then you take your faction and then you create your order of battle. So essentially, your order of battle is a list of units. And in Crusade, you have a supply limit starting at 50 power level. So I'll show you what power level looks like here. Power level is just one metric of measuring the cost of a unit. So we'll just pick a random unit here. Crisis Battle Suits. Looks a bit different in the official GW codex. As you see, you go to your data sheet, and then there's a power level indicated up here. So for Crusade, you can take as many units as you like, equaling up to 50 power level. So you see here, XV8 Crisis Battle Suits, 8 power. So you would go back and enter that on your order of battle. And you would go through with all your power rating until you reach 50. Now you can increase that power rating later on by adding requisition points and buying more supply limits, essentially. So each unit you're going to add is going to require a Crusade card. There's a variety of different ways to do this. You can take the one that is in the core rules book from GW, or what I personally like is to use one from Goonhammer. And I'll pull it up here and show you what it looks like. So as I described earlier, when creating your Crusade roster and creating your battle cards for your Crusade forces, you can either use the template provided in the core rulebook, or go and find what better nerds have made and use that, which is what I like to do. So in Goonhammer, they posted a Crusade log, essentially, that is digital. You can go on your smartphone, as you see here, and it's quite easy to use, and you can update it off your phone as you play battles throughout your Crusade. Created in 2020, but now it's being subsequently updated. I'll put the link in the description below if you're interested in this one, and we'll go through it and take a look at what it looks like here. So as you can see here, it has a little README. It's all in Google Sheets, which is no big deal. You go to your order of battle. You can put your army name in, track how many battles you've won. We talked about what your faction is. And then as you see here on the bottom, you can tab each unit as you add it to your order of battle. So your unit card, pretty easy. What it is, how much power, if there's any equipment, powers, warlord traits, relics. And then as you go through and play your games, did it get any battle honors? Did it get any battle scars? What agendas did it achieve? everything like that. And as you can update and go through, it's quite easy to track. And because it's on Google Sheets, you can take it anywhere. Like I said, use it on your phone. As you go through and play your games, it's quite easy and awesome, and it's what I plan on using when I go through the Crusade in my local game store. All right, so next we're going to jump back to the rules and go through how to make up the rest of the Crusade order of battle. All right, we're back. So when you're creating your order of battle and making your Crusade cards, it's a bit different than match play, in that in match play, a warlord usually gains a warlord trait and a relic for free, one of each, when you create your Battleforged army. In Crusade, it's a bit different. You actually have to purchase them and add them to your units as they gain experience, so it doesn't automatically come with it. Psychic abilities are selected and kind of locked in as you go through, and then it has other things like battle honors and battle scars that are different from match play and help add to the narrative theme. So a key concept to understand in Crusade is experience. So when you add something to your order of battle, it starts with 0 experience points, but as you play games and it destroys units, participates in games, or it achieves agendas, it can gain experience points. And experience points are really the thing that makes the engine run, the narrative engine run. Because as your units gain experience points, you can use them to upgrade your units. You can give it a mark for greatness, you can use it to do other things, and you can help build your Crusade force to be better as it goes along. So, it's kind of very narrative in the sense that you start with 0 experience. As you become blooded, you get better stats, you get better abilities, and away you go. Requisition points. So like I talked about earlier, requisition points are something that allows you to purchase things that normally you could usually get spending with CP in match play, or that just came normally. You save your requisition points so they don't just go away from game to game, but you can never have more than 5 throughout any Crusade game. They can be used for a variety of different things: purchasing relics, purchasing warlord traits, purchasing upgrades, and purchasing more supply. So if you start with 50 power level and you want to start with 55, well, you start with 5 requisition points to begin off with, so you can purchase more supply and start your force at 55 power level, for example. As you see here, these are the requisitions that are available to everyone. Within each codex for each faction, there are different requisitions based on the narrative style of your army, but this is what's available to every army to start off with based on the core rules. So increasing your supply limit, bringing in fresh recruits, and then you can change war gear. So if you didn't like the war gear you equipped your unit with, you can change it. Removing battle scars. So essentially what happens is, if you play a game and say one of your units is destroyed, you have to roll for every unit that's destroyed at the end of the game. If you roll a certain number, you get a battle scar, and that applies a negative modifier to that unit in the next game that you're going to play, to replicate that they had a terrible defeat and they psychologically or physically scarred from it, hence battle scar. Repair and recuperate removes it. Changing psychic powers, like I said, things are locked in when you put it on your order of battle, but there's flexibility to change it as you play through and say you don't like it. Specialist reinforcements, adding more relics, or giving another warlord trait. So, ranks and battle honors. Like I talked about, experience points is kind of the thing that makes this run. So as your units gain experience points, they promote. So 0 to 5, as you can see here in the chart, battle ready, all the way up to legendary. And the battle honors that go away with it is 1, 2, 3, 4 associated with the side here. And every time you move up ranks, so say from battle ready to blooded or heroic to legendary, you're going to gain a battle honor. So the battle honors, essentially, there's 4 types. As you can see there, battle traits. You can upgrade your weapons, upgrade your psychic stuff, or gain an awesome Crusade relic. What I like to do is essentially focus on upgrading the characters or upgrading anything to do with the unit, but you might choose differently. As you can see here, you roll 1d6, and then whatever you roll comes up on the table, and then that applies to that unit. So that's the battle honor they get. You can see there's various things like any other unit here. you can add one to the move characteristics because they're super fleet of foot. You can reroll failed morale because they're very cool-headed. And then you look, and there's weapons enhancements, melee and ranged. And then if you have an army full of Psychers, say you're playing Thousand Suns, you can upgrade, or Grey Knights, you can upgrade part of their ability to do psychic stuff. Relics and Crusade. So Crusade, there are specific relics to Crusade. There's the generic relics that are in the core rules, like what I'm showing you here. And then each codex has different relics that are more flavorful and bound towards the specific army and faction. Yep, and out of action. So like I talked about, as you play the game through, units that are destroyed in your game have to take an out of action test. And you're rolling a d6 on 2+, nothing happens. On a 1, that's when you're going to get that battle scar. And much like the battle honors and traits, you just roll your d6 and you see what you can get. Monsters I find particularly entertaining. Crippled limb, enraged unreasoning. Vehicles have things that are more favorable to vehicles, like your armor's weakened. The communications of Vox is destroyed, so it can't give auras. So it's pretty entertaining and flavorful. And as you go through and play different games against different people, because you're tracking on the sheet, your army is essentially becoming the sum of its experiences through the Crusade, which I find quite entertaining and kind of really what's nice about the Warhammer world is that you can build kind of the fiction to go along with it, right? It's not just playing a competitive game all the time. You can build kind of a story for all those hours that you put in painting your armies. And then, there's missions specific to Crusade, which I'll touch on later when I actually play some games, and agendas. So in Crusade, they have agendas in place of some of these secondaries. So in match play, you have secondary objectives. In Crusades, you have agendas, and you select them secretly and write them down, and then you attempt to achieve them here. Let's see if I can find some examples. So, for example, you're looking to kill vehicles or monsters, assassinate characters, break through into your opponent's battlefield edge. You can have a whole variety of stuff. And each codex has faction-specific agendas. So, for example, Dark Angels are looking to interrogate people to find the Fallen. Mechanicus are looking to recover technology. Things that are very narrative to the specific faction. So, that is my quick wrap-up of Crusade and narrative play in Warhammer 40k. It's not supposed to be super in-depth, but just to kind of give you an overview of what Crusade is. And if you subscribe and follow, you will see me building my Crusade force over the next couple of days, adding into the roster, putting the roster in, explaining each choice I make. And then as we go through the year, hopefully you'll see how the force does, and hopefully not too many battle scars. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.